so we can get recordings. Okay, so let's start with the poll as usual. How many times have you attended webinar in the future? Sorry, in the past? If you can select if you here for the first time, second, third, or more than 3 times, that will be great. All right, so majority of the people more than 3 times. We do have new people as well, which is great. So we have some people who attend 3 times. Okay. So I would say, from what I can see from the statistics, that 50% of the people, they attend more than 3 times, 20% here for the first time, and rest it's second or third time. Okay, which is good. It's really good to have new people. It means that we are growing constantly. And yesterday we just had a live event in London. I know that some of you attend this event, so thank you very much for coming. And after the inner trance, after all these events, I believe we'll have more and more people who would be interested to know more about technology. And if you can help me with your status, who you are, for those people who had no idea what is the company status, just hit I don't know button, so it's fine. All right. So we have a lot of partners. Some people they don't know. Well, obviously, I guess this would be new people who are not yet familiar with our structure. Okay. So majority are the partners. We have few consultants. We don't have any managers, agents. We have agents, and some people. Again, this 20%, they don't know. So I guess this will be new people who are here for the first time. So majority of you guys are the partners and agents. Okay, cool. Soon manager. Oh, Jan and John, yeah, it's so funny. You send this message at the same time. Soon manager, soon manager. So are you guys before the webinar? Do you talk to each other? What are you gonna put in the questions, or just coincidence? Okay, great. Let's start the webinar. So today I have lots of good news, and I just come back from inner trance, and I guess this will be the first big news I want to share with you. So let's me close pool, and then so I can see chat. All right. So inner trance, guys, it was amazing. It is the biggest event trade show I haven't seen in my life. Here in London, we have exhibition called Expo. It is a very big exhibition, and I thought this is the biggest expo I ever saw. But when I went to Inner Trance, I realized that wow, like it was humongous. I remember for the first day, I was looking for our exhibition stand. It took me 1.5 hours just to find where we are. And what we had at the exhibition, 2 pieces of transport. As you can see from the first picture on the right, this is unibike for 2 people. And this model is it's a real model, so it is not just a prototype. This is the real unibike, and we had a unibus, which you can see in the bottom picture. The capacity of unibus is 14 people, and we did a little test where, in fact, 16 people managed to walk in. So, I mean, compared to any other exhibitors, we can clearly see that what we have, it is innovation. On this exhibition, we have 2 types of transport. We have lots of companies presenting the monorails, like different rolling stock for monorails, different, I don't know, buttons. There's a company who produce the buttons which they use in tube station. And lots of companies, they had on products, which is the monorail, and they use the usual trains. And we have lots of exhibitors there who brought the piece of transport as well. But they all of them were really old-fashioned, maybe designed better, speed maybe slightly higher. But overall idea is old. So it's the same roads they're promoting the same trains as we have, maybe slightly faster. And from another hand, we had lots of companies who involved in a cable car production. Next to us, in fact, we have one company who designed the new innovative cable cars. I'm not sure why they call themselves innovative, because for me it was just the usual cable car. And just to give you a comparison, the cost to build 1 kilometer of the cable car is 50 million. 50, like, I don't know, I think it's not possible, because the speed is very low. The guy said the maximum speed is 30 kilometers, and I think it's just ridiculously expensive. Maybe I did not understood him completely, because it just sounds too much to be true. And it's pointless of have a cable car, which is very slow transport anyway. It's better to, I don't know, build a maglev train, which is even cheaper. So I don't know, but what we saw, it was huge interest from the people. Here the few pictures. The first picture is inside the first on the right, inside the unibus. As you can see, everything is working. The material they use is wood and plastic, so it's very simple. And for the people who he would kind of come inside and ask, "Oh, what is this? Like, it looked like a public bus." Then we try to explain that it is the innovative transport, that is the know-how. And in fact, our stand was so busy. So we had so many people attending to our stand and try to have a look and sit inside and take the picture. We had so many people that even in Kawasaki stand, which was next to us, we had people who were talking about the SkyWay. So imagine you just going like to different direction, to different area, and you can still hear the people talking about the Skyway. So that how big the exhibition was, that how amazing it was. And here on these two pictures, the first picture on the top on the left, these are two prototypes, models 1 to 10. On the top, you can see high-speed unibus, and on the bottom is the inside the city unibus as well. It is exactly the same as presented at the exhibition. So we have 1 to 10 model and the real model 1 to 1. And the bottom picture on the left, this is our motor in a wheel. Apparently on each construction we'll have 2 motors in a wheel, and this will be our accumulator for the energy. And in the future, if you talk about this transport technology, you can mention that any sort of renewable energy can be used as the source of power for unibus or unibike, and this is true. And in fact, we can use any sort of fuel, any renewable energy as the source of energy for our transport system. So it's all depend on each country what would they want and what sort of order they will want to make. But it's extremely flexible technology, very adaptable, and the fact that it is know-how, we had lots of people attended our stand. And as you can see probably from that picture, we had lots of partners. He travels around the world. We have a Rod Hook who represented this technology. He spent all day there with us, talking with us, sharing his expertise, sharing his thoughts, very positive. He's 70 years old, but he's so cool, so friendly, and we spent lots of time with him. We had people from Norway, as you can see John here in the picture on the right-hand side, just behind me. Then we have people from Prague, from Slovakia, from Estonia, Latvia. We have people from Russia, obviously, from Ukraine. We have people from US. We have people from Australia, of course, because of the Rod Hook. And we had people from Denmark, from UK, from Germany, like you name it. I think it just was like overwhelming, this experience. And lots of partners were there to support the first launch of the technology. And we have few officials there as well. We have officials from Ireland. We have officials from Prague. We have officials from Australia, of course, because of Rod Hook, and we have officials from Ukraine, as far as I know. So there are lots of lots of people who wanted to see the first launch of the technology. And what happened after this exhibition, that this two pieces of transport had been shipped back to Minsk, and we should have the test started at the October, November, December. We'll do the test, and next year, beginning of the next year or middle, hopefully we will have a certification. Yeah, it was like incredible experience. And for all you guys, if you in the future if you have the opportunity to attend one of the events like this, please do, because it is not happening every day. And most of the people, we are the shareholders here, so we want, it's our baby. And in fact, all what is shown so far done because of the public, because of the public funding. So you should be really proud. And you should tell your friends and your family that's the only reason why this exhibition happened is because of us. It's because people like us, we put the money into technology, we believed into idea, and Andrei Khavratov, he come up with all the plan to do the crowdfunding for this project. He created this marketing where we can all benefit. So if not him, then who knows? Maybe Unitsky would have still, struggled to find the partners. But now, because we have a two juniors meeting together in one place at the right time, we have a product and we have a business development tool. And this is very important because Unitsky, he had this idea for so many years, but as you probably some of you know, he tried to launch this back a few years back, and he had partners who were not trustworthy, and he got really bad experience with the people who just wanted to take advantage of him. And only when he met the Andrei Havratov, and Andrei Havratov saw the potential, and because he owns the Academy of Private Investors, he's the self-made millionaire, and he's professional investor. So he saw the opportunity from an investment point of view, and he decided to show this opportunity to his students. And that's how SkyWay Invest Group was born, because Havratov sees the opportunity. He showed the students and other people how beneficial this project is. And the more he learned about it, the more excited he became about this project. Same with Rothhook. He shared his story, and he said, for the first time when I heard about this project, that was through his wife, I believe. And he said, well, I don't know, I receive lots of offers almost every day, people pitching me, and they have a different product to offer. And he was like, I'm very busy man, I don't have time to, to assess every single offer. But she was kind of come back to him saying, well, this is really cool transport. I have a few friends who involved. And then he had a look at it very briefly. He understood the idea. He really liked the concept. And then they arranged the Skype call with Unitsky. They went through all the details, and then Radhuk decided to travel to Minsk with his two partners. Both of them are engineers. So he wanted to check every single paper, every single certificate, every single proof that what Unitsky has is actually the true case, that he actually planning to build a transport, not like a pyramid or something. So after he done all the due diligence, after he checked every single document together with his partners, they realized the potential. So after that, Rothhook was sold out, and he said, "Well, I want Australia people use this transport. I wanted them to understand how great, how beneficial this transport could be." And that's how it all started. So it started from the people, and if we have a people, a tried time, a tried place, then that's what happened. We have a two-piece of transport there ready. So well done for all of you guys who invested in technology. Well done for you to working with us so hard, and we are so close to the certification. And after certification, like we just need to approach the different governments and build the projects globally. So for new people who has no idea what I'm talking about, I will explain about the transport a bit more detail. But I wanted to start with the positive news because most of you guys were waiting for the news. Matter of fact. Also, probably you heard about this book. It's published in US. This is the first book when we have Skyway technology on the front page. So it's in English language. So you can go to Amazon, have a look if the book's still available. Inside the book, the author Michael Orlov, he talks about the SkyWay, he talks about the creative designs, and he got the interview with Unitsky. And this is the first book where you can see the SkyWay on a first page. Then a few days ago, actually at the same time as we had a conference in Berlin, we had a conference in Ukraine. It was the 8th International Economical Forum. They have more than 30 delegations from across the globe, include India, China, New Zealand, US, Canada. So lots of people, and they were talking about innovation, technology. They were talking about what are the know-how solutions which they can implement in the various countries. As you can see in the first picture, they have like lots of people, and we had a SkyWay representatives. They on the first picture on the right on the top. So they had a report about the SkyWay, where they explain about the technology. They explain about the possibility of launching this technology in Ukraine and globally. And they mentioned that our product, like it's so different from any other products which were offered at this exhibition. So they said that they had a very long queue with their journalist. He asked tons of questions about the SkyWay, about Unitsky, about technology itself. So they definitely managed to bring awareness about this project. And now you will see more and more conferences coming in the future, because I think we reached the point where now people talks about this technology. We reached the point where we have a two piece of transport ready, that they real size, real transport. And within the few weeks, you will hear the news from Unitsky that the test has been started. So it should be in October, as far as I know. So we don't need anymore to do the lengthy presentation about their technology advantages, about the 40 years back Unitsky come up with the idea. No, we just need to tell the facts, and all the facts are there. And now it's much more easy to present this case to other people, because it is not just a picture. We actually have piece of transport. And from investment point of view, it is incredible investment into tangible product, and it is the infrastructure. So the potential is endless. I will talk about investment in a bit more detail, but this is actually the latest news with regards to the few exhibitions which happened last week. And Belave magazine, this is Belarusian magazine, where we have SkyWay again on the front page. They have English pages. I think it's 5 pages where they talk about Unitsky, his technology, and the little interview as well with Anatoly Eduardovich. So again, more and more publicity. So all the people who use Belave airline, they will see this magazine on board, so they can read and they can be curious about technology, and then come back to Unitsky and his team and ask for more details, because this Belarusian magazine, which means that they have really big privilege that they can have a meeting or organize the trip to Marina Gorka and see the technology, real Ecotechno Park. So this is another little achievement. But let's talk about the technological breakthrough. And for especially new people, this will be quite an important part. So we have a huge gap in transport industry today. If you have a look at any sector, the transport sector is the same as it used to be 100 years back. We're still using the same trains. We're still using the same roads. We have a better cars now. We have a Tesla cars, but I don't think that's most of us will have it in the next few years. But overall, everything stays pretty much the same. And it is a very big disadvantage, because living in the 21st century where people can connect just like we do at the moment, you're from different continents, from different countries, but we can connect and we can talk and share information. Nevertheless, we're based in completely different countries. However, if I want to travel to US, or if I want to travel to Norway or Russia or China, it's going to take me quite a lot of time to do it. So the transport sector is undeveloped sector, and I came across one of the report published by McKinsey Institute. I think I shared with a few of you guys that's by 2030. Global economy need to put $3.3 trillion for the infrastructure development, which is heavily relying on the transport infrastructure. So we have clearly the gap in the market. Another problem is, apart from the timing, is the pollution. Lots of transport we use nowadays polluted air. We breathe this air in, and then it's affecting our health. And in fact, for those who live in London, unfortunately, the London is the most polluted city in Europe. I didn't know that myself. Since only like few months ago, it was published on one of their articles that unfortunately it is the truth. So we live in a very like bad environment for our health, and because of that, we're damaging our health, and it's not good for the environment. So that's why more and more people and more companies, they start and implement new solutions for the transport sector. So the first picture is a magnetic train, which again been developed almost 30 years back, but because it's extremely expensive, and they had an accident in Germany, I believe it was. They had a big accident where people had died. So not many countries want to use the maglev trains at the moment, even though the speed could be up to, I believe, 700 kilometers an hour, if I'm correct me if I'm wrong. But technology is very expensive. To build 1 kilometer, it will cost around 45 million. So not every single country can afford this sort of technology. Then we have a Hyperloop, which is just a concept. And attending an exhibition, I saw they stand myself. All they have is the banner, and they have a 3D glasses or virtual reality glasses. When you can put the glasses on, and it will look like as if you are inside the Hyperloop. So for me, I could not understand either they promoting the game or kind of what is the point of having this augmented reality bit at the exhibition, because we expected actually to see our competitors. We wanted to see what they achieve, but unfortunately Hyperloop, they have no prototypes at the moment. It's just a picture. So at the moment what they have is what we had 2 years back, which is great for us. So the less competition we have is better. And the last picture on the bottom, on the right hand side, Schweb. This is the only existing transport. I don't know if shall call it transport, but it is the solution which can be built in the park. You can use it as the alternative of to the bicycle. So you just sit inside, you almost lie down, and it is good for the fitness, and it's very little speed, but at the same time it's more for fun. That's why it's installed in one of the parks. And we have a SkyWay here, the bottom picture on the left, and this is the Unitsky string technology, and this is technology I want to share with you today. So Unitsky, he is the author of this technology. He is the general designer, owner of the intellectual property for that technology, which been evaluated by independent advisor firm, and the IP of the SkyWay company is $400 billion, which means that's all the figures we have. We're not taking them just from the air. We do have proofs and certificates that this technology costs that much. Because it's know-how, and because no one used that previously. So it is the completely new innovative transport solution. And Unitsky, he's a well-known engineer. He got lots of gold medals, recognition letters, a few patents, and also he used to be involved back to Soviet Union and UN and nations development of the what is it called? Development the heavy machinery for sending people to the space. So he is involved in various. He used to be involved in various technological solutions, and he got the perfect reputation. He's very well known engineer, in Russia and in Belarus as well. So he is the author of the SkyWay technology. Um, we have four types of transport. We have a high-speed transport, which is designed for outside the city connection. The speed will be 500 kilometers an hour. We have inside the city transport, which was at the exhibition. At the exhibition, we had quite a small version of it. It's only 14 people, but the maximum capacity of inside the city transport is 84 people. So they can be different sizes, different shapes. Again, it depends on each project separately. And the speed of the inside the city transport would be up to 150 kilometers an hour. Then we have the unibikes. Again, the unibike was at the exhibition. This was there for two people only, but it could be for three, four people and more. And it's very similar to Schweb in terms of you can use for fun, you can install them in the parks, and you can cycle if you wish, but at the same time you don't have to if you don't want to. So it's a very light version of SkyWay technology, and this is the cheapest to build. So for some countries who are not sure about building the high-speed transport right away, they can start with a smaller project, which is Unibus. They can test it, they can build a small road, and then as soon as they see the all potential, then they can we can always upgrade it to different contracts. And that's what actually happened in Australia. So they start talking about one single project, which was Adelaide University for 1 kilometer, and now they're talking about other 7 projects. So slowly, when government officials, when they see the potential, they would want to have this technology on their cities. They would want to have this technology built globally. And the cargo transport, the last but not the least, it is the most expensive type of SkyWay technology. And again, it could be mounted or it could be elevated. And the speed would be either 150 kilometers if you're talking about suspended train, or if it's going to be mounted, then it's 500 kilometers an hour. And just to give you an idea, the average speed of cargo transport today is 30 kilometers an hour. So from 30, we can go to 500. It's a big difference, humongous. And that's what actually lots of the exhibition who from like engineering background and people from different stands, they were coming to us, and when they hear this numbers like 500 kilometers an hour, they were like, oh my gosh, like, is it real? Is it possible? How? So the people, we like every single person, every single company, they all interested to have a very high-speed solution, because the high-speed solution connecting the countries, connecting the continents, this is something we have a very huge gap at the moment. And all our SkyWay products, they ecological friendly. They can use renewable energy. We need the minimal land acquisition, which means that we just in a simple way, you install the 2 support legs and you put the string technology, the monorail on the top, and it's just simple as. So you don't need to dig the road, you don't need to damage environment. So they all very safe. Even if someone decide to shoot with a gun, the construction, nothing will happen, because it's extremely strong, and it's not, you cannot just simply break it. And of course, we're talking about elimination the traffic as well, because it's going to be second level. That's something you saw in the video. So it is the very big advantage that it's going to be in the second level. So we don't have any traffic. We don't have any crossovers with the different types of transport or with the animals. Like whatever it is, we're going to be elevated above the ground. And another big advantage, that's it's fully automated. If you read the statistics about the accidents, 80% of accidents happen because of the human mistake. And that's such a big number. So by using automated solution like a SkyWay, we eliminate this percentage. So we're not going to have any accidents, any crashes, because the first of all, it is elevated, but the second of all, it's fully automated system. So these are the main advantages I would use when I talk about this project, either with the private investors or government official, and these are the main advantages of this technology. Do you have any questions with regards to technology itself? Let's just have a look. Okay. Yeah, I'll talk about investment in a bit. Okay, Shirley asked me what type of material they use for the rail. Well, we have you imagine like how the rail look inside. So it's we have a concrete, and concrete is another know-how which Unitsky created. So it is the special type of concrete. Then we have strings inside of the monorail. That's why it is extremely safe, and you cannot simply break it. And then you have a metal around it. So we have a metal, concrete, and strings inside. I'm thinking one of the brochures and online you can find a bit more detailed pictures how the monorail will look like from inside, like the cut of it. So these are the main components as the metal, and then you got the concrete and strings inside, and that's why it's so strong, and that's why even if you have any terroristic attack, nothing will happen, and it's very the construction can last for the from 60 to 100 years, which means that you don't need to replace every year or so. It's you can do it once in 100 years only. Okay, let's talk about investment guides. So so far we use crowdfunding. We've been using crowdfunding for almost 1.5 years now, maybe even slightly more. So what you can see so far, it's been achieved because of the crowdfunding. And for those of you who are not familiar with crowdfunding, to put it in simple term, we invited people to chip in into the company and then become a company co-owners. So it is the equity crowdfunding. It's very important to understand because there are so many different types of crowdfunding available today, but only few companies will use the equity crowdfunding. Because when we talk about equity crowdfunding, it means that you actually own the piece of technology. You actually the owner, of your co-owner of the technology itself, which means that after the technology being used anywhere in the world, you as the investor, you will benefit from that. It would be dividends which you can receive you during the all like your entire life. They limit it to the amount of the profit company will generate, but main idea that's those companies who do the equity crowdfunding, they actually give a piece of the equity, piece of the company to the ordinary people like us. So so far we raised around 11.5 million dollars, maybe actually 12. I'll see the figures this month later on this week. We send all money to Unitsky. They have in Minsk R&D center where they build the technology, and us, SkyWay Invest Group, we're a financial arm of this project. So we collect in, like we talk about the crowdfunding, we attract investors, and they invest into main technology. So all the equity they have a contract directly with Unitsky. If you have a look at the back office, you'll see that all shares and everything, it's been done from Unitsky point of view with his signature. Andrei Haratov, he is not the owner of the technology. So whatever activities you do now, like buying the EIPs, buying the shares, this is done on all shares taken from Unitsky. So this is very important to understand, because I know some people, they sometimes confuse, they don't understand where they need to invest, if by investing in a SkyWay Invest Group, or they have the same shares. So yes, you would have exactly the same shares. We are working here as a middleman. The reason why we exist, because Unitsky clearly mentioned that he wants to be involved in technology side. He does not want to be involved in fund raising exercises. So that's why we deal with crowdfunding at the moment. And also we are now ready to move to the hedge funds, institutional investment. And you probably heard few weeks ago, was it 2 weeks ago, that I shared the news with you that we are planning to move to the next phase. and probably the Eco Technopark will be funded very, very soon. As soon as we have official information, we will share with you guys. But at the moment, all what you need to know that what you can see so far include the 2 real piece of transport, include all documentation, include every single contract being signed so far. It's because of private investors, because of the crowdfunding. So as soon as the certification is done, which will be beginning of the middle of next year, then we will resell this technology to different countries, and then we can start building the local projects globally. I think this is the video. I will send the few videos with you guys for you guys afterwards. I don't think we have much time to show you another video. So let's have a look what is there for you. So as I mentioned, we use the crowdfunding, and these options are still available. When you're talking about the crowdfunding opportunities, there are so many companies and so many websites who promote the crowdfunding, include Kickstarter or Crowdcube. There are so many companies who offer the usual people as us, the small private investors, to invest into different startups. So in our case, you can see all our offers online. If you ask the person who invited you to this webinar to guide you through the investment opportunities, I'm sure they will do so. But what I try to outline here is that we have different level of investment. And of course, you need to remember that you don't need to invest like every single penny you earn. A professional investor would normally invest something between 10 to 30% of their monthly income, because you need to understand that it is investment. Even though we have now lots of proofs, we have now a ready piece of transport, but still it is investment. So we don't want you to put all your money, all your hopes, and then you lose the sleep over the night because you're stressing yourself, what if? So make sure that when you decide about the investment on this case or in the future, it is the wise decision, and you understand all the risks, and you understand the potential. Because if you have a look at this figure, I outline 1,000 USD. If you go for this option for the 10 months, you have a portfolio of 3,150 shares. Which means that after company goes to IPO, which will be between 3 to 5 years, the 300 million shares will be equal of $300 million, because at the minimum, the share price will be $1 when the company planning to hit IPO. So it's quite important so the people realize that it is a huge potential, and the fact that we're talking about the transport industry, which means that it could be used by anyone globally. We wouldn't have a certain picture of a certain segmentation for our clients. Anyone can be our client. And here we have a few examples of the top venture capital investors by Forbes. Like, for example, the company like Twitter or Instagram. All these people who invested on the startups, they now multimillionaires. Why? Because they saw the potential, and saying that Twitter and Instagram, it's designed for certain people. There needs to be certain age, or LinkedIn, for example, there's for professional people only. It's people who want to probably find a job or offer the job. So they all very segmented. While in our case, when we're talking about the transport infrastructure, it is the possibility is endless. So we can talk about cargo transport, which will be useful for government, for big corporation. We can talk about high-speed transport, which will be useful for businessmen, or for people who travel a lot, or for people who live far away from the family. And we can talk about local transport inside a city, which can be used by anyone. If you're 5 years old, or if you're 65 years old, it doesn't matter. You'll still use that transport if it's good, and if it's cheap, and if it's sustainable, and if it's safe. So that's why we have here bigger potential than any of these examples here, as you can see on the slide, because all of them were for specific segment, for specific group, while in our case, our group could be anyone in any country. So that's why the potential is huge. And at the same time, we still offer the business opportunities. We use reward-based marketing, which means if you introduce us to other people who would want to become a technological owners, who would want to invest into technology, you will get a reward, which is 15% from what they have invested and 7.5% shares from their package. So if they invest like $1,000, then you'll get 15% of this, and even they package certain thousand of shares, then you will get 7.5% from his amount of shares. And it's look like as if we have many levels, but true that you can only have a link for your first level, which means that you can add as many people on your first level as you wish. We are not a traditional MLM company, which means that we don't have the certain rules that's how many people you can put in your first level, how many people you can put in your second level. We don't have any of these restrictions. You can invite as many people as you want. For each person you invited, you will get the rewards. And these people, they can invite other people, and that's how you build your network. Not you invited people on different level. You work with your first level, and your first level work with their first level, and etc. So, and also you don't have to become, or you don't have to buy the product yourself. If you're just passionate about the technology and you have some difficulties now to buy the package, is fine. You can still talk to your friends. You can still promote this. We have 2 documents which needs to be signed when you log in online, which allows you to promote this company, which allows you to talk about the SkyWay technology and talk about the reward-based marketing as we have. So this is very unique opportunity, and many people use now reward-based marketing. Even here in office, as soon as we sign the contract to have an office here, the first what we heard is, oh, by the way, if you share this letters with your friends and they decide to join and rent office here, you will get 10% off from your rent. So everyone use reward-based marketing. It is you just need to understand that it is another marketing tool, so we can attract as many people as possible, because from one hand we are looking for investment, of course, but from another hand we also looking for support, and public support is extremely important when we're talking about the local projects. Because if you go to the government and we have 0 supporters on certain country, then it's going to be very difficult to explain why would they need to build the road if no one even heard about this road. But imagine if you have few thousand people who are investors, or maybe who are just showing an interest of the technology, and you official, you had a transport, and we come into you saying, well, from your town we have 5,000 people who are interested to have these trains and they would like to use it, then it's a different story, right? So that's the tactics we use. From one hand, looking for investors, but from another hand, we're looking for people who would be interested just to support us, even without any monetary support, but just to support the idea, just to support the green movement, so we can create here completely new infrastructure, which will be so cost effective, so good for the environment, and so good for all people who will use it. So this is also a very big point I want you guys to understand, and I want you to use in your future presentation, because it's very important. Of course, it is a lot about getting funds for the Eco Technopark, but then it's not just about this. We have further plans, and all the people who support this project in any shape or form, they would have opportunity to invest into different projects in the future. So this is another good point. That it is not about just if you have money today or not. We have a really long-term plan. So everyone can find the opportunity to be involved in a different business, a different form and shape. So that will be all from the presentation point of view. And the news we have in October from 4 to 6, we have a big trade show in Minsk. Unitsky received the letter from the Prime Minister. I believe they have a president in Belarus. I don't know if it was like personal letter, but he invited Unitsky to represent the technology at Belarus exhibition, Belarusian trade show. And it is about the transport and logistics, and they very proud officials in Belarus that Unitsky, he built an eco technopark there, which means it's a huge potential for their own country. And of course, now after the Innotrans, Unitsky will receive lots of letters and invitation to different trade shows. You just need to find the time, I guess, to attend all of them. But this is something coming up in October. So if you are in Belarus at that time, then you would have a really good opportunity to again see the transport. I don't know actually if they will ship any like one-to-one models, the one we saw at Innotrans, but they would definitely have smaller models, and the construction bureau is there in Minsk. So if you're the investor, or if you have a group of people who would travel with you, then you have really big chance to see Nutsky team and talk to them, because they are there anyway. So I'm sure we can arrange some meetings if needs to be. So put in your calendar 4 to 6 October in Minsk, trade show, transport and logistics. There's something, it has been happened yesterday. You see here the Fin Future magazine. So it is October edition. So the magazine been printed only a few days ago. I don't think if you can buy it now, because it is October edition. So only in a few days it will be published. The guy, Chris, he traveled from US to see exhibition, to see Rodhook and have a chat with him with regards to this technology. And he published in his magazine article about Unitsky, article about Global Transnet UK, about the projects we have, about all their opportunities people can get by involving themselves into this project. So next week they will have a Cybers event. I don't know if you know about this event. It's the biggest banking forum. So he will be there personally, and Chris mentioned that he will get 30,000 copies of this magazine distributed at the exhibition, which means that 30,000 people from banking industry, include investment bankers, include retail banking, like they will get hold of this magazine. And this is, I think, the first story in the magazine itself. So more articles are coming, and we now have interest from Financial Times as well. One of them, a journalist, he want to publish the article about SkyWay technology. So you'll see more and more magazines will publish articles about Unitsky, about his technology, about us, about all what we managed to achieve so far. And the last news, but not the least, is Master Profit training. So now we have a date. The training will start at the beginning of the November. It will be run by Andrei Havratov and Victor Sober. Victor Sober, he's our coach, and he's business development director of the SkyWay Invest Group. So he's responsible for strategic development, company development. And myself and Armand, Armand, he's director here in UK. And he's responsible for, he's managing director for this office. And myself, I'm business development director of the UK region, but also helping like other English speaking countries if needed to be. So we will try, we will translate the training and a few sessions, but we want you to learn from Andrei Havratov and Victor Sober, because now you will see lots of news, and our company will be moving forward to the different stage, and we will have more opportunities for investors. We have more companies we would be keen to cooperate with. So next week, I will probably next week or week after, we'll have a conference where Andrei Havratov will tell us what will be the plans. And then as soon as I get hold of information, I will share with you guys. But he promised that it's going to be like huge news. So I'm looking forward for his conference. So that will be all from my side. If you have any questions, please use this time to ask them. Let's have a look what questions you have. All right. Luis, when will product be ready for the marketplace? Well, we already have started to approach different countries globally. So we have, as I mentioned before, we have a contracts with Ireland, Australia, Prague, Russia, Ukraine, um, what other countries? Kazakhstan. So we already approaching the government because they're all preparation. It takes some time. So by the time we will actually agree where to build the project, by the time when the government will give us the land permission and other permissions, hopefully the certification will be done, which is next year. And as soon as certification is done, then we can build it pretty much globally. For example, what Rodhuk mentioned, I don't know if I mentioned that or not, but they planning to build on 1 kilometer of road, which they will use for test purpose, and they plan to do own certification, which means that they don't need to wait for our certification. They'll do local certification. Like each country has own certification process. So he want to do certification from Australian point of view, and then that will help him to initiate the projects much more quicker. So the average deadline, the deadline he gave me during the event was they planning to build Flinders University at the middle of 2018. So by that time, the tests will finish, they will get certification, and the 1 kilometer road will be built. Yeah, John, you're absolutely right. It is much more stronger than rails today, and the reason why is we have a strings inside and special concrete, so it is stronger than any existing rails. This is 100%. um, Okay, yeah, we just discussed this with Darcy. She asked me a question if it's possible to pass the shares to your kids or your grandchildren. Yes, you can pass it. You just write your like it's called will. We need to get the lawyer involved, and when company goes to IPO, you can kind of either gift it your shares to your kids or your family members, or it will be part of your will. That's if something happened to yourself, then whatever you own so far, it will be given to your children or grandchildren. This is, of course, it's all applicable here as well. Laura said, I don't quite get your last question, and you only can lose your money if bomb explore on the place. I think maybe it's with regards to yesterday conference, but I'm not sure. I mean, it is still investment. So when you talk about investment, you need to address the risk. But at the moment, our risk are quite low because the first of all, IP has been checked, so we know what is the cost of the technology. We have a potential clients. We have signed agreements. So we actually complete the hardest stage, which was the building the actual piece of transport. So as soon as tests been done and as soon as certification is done, then we're just going to build it globally. So unless something really, really horrible happened to Ecotechno Park and somebody will just, no zombie apocalypse and we have no bombs from the sky trying to bombard the Ecotechno Park. So only then it's might be extended because then we would have to build everything in the beginning. But apart from that, and it's really unlikely that it will happen, risk are pretty low as it stands at the moment. But still, people need to understand this investment. So some risk they might be unseen. For example, I had a conversation with one of the investors recently, and he was a bit worried about political risk, which is quite understandable. it is the risk, because we're talking about the different countries, different political situation. So that's why it is called investment. It doesn't called the guarantee returns. No, it is still investment. So people can, like, they should understand that there's still risks, but some risk could be reasonable, and the risk which we can address simple, but some risk, they might be unseen. But at the moment, when the company just started, it was the high risk company, because we have nothing. At the moment, we are moving from high risk company to the medium risk and low risk, because the closer we to certification, the closer we to IPO, the lesser risks would be for investors. I want to know how much shares is right to invest as a new person. Fatin, it is kind of, I don't have a straightforward answer on this, because it depends on so many factors. It depends if you already invested into any businesses. It depends if you understand what is investment. It depends how much spare money you've got. It depends what risk you want to take. So I would advise you to go back to the person who introduced you to the webinar. If you find my link on the internet, then after chat, just let me know your email, and we'll have a talk, because it is a bit complex question and it will take some time, and I think it's more appropriate to do in one-on-one. I have Sky trains here in my city. How SkyWay is different. Luis, you mean how SkyWay is different compared to any other transport system? Well, very simple. I think I already mentioned that, because it is cost effective, it's ecological, it's requires minimum land acquisition. You can use any sort of renewable energy to power the truck, and it's very safe. It's extremely safe construction, because it will be elevated on the second level, so no traffic. It's all automated. So this will be the big difference, and compared to any existing transport, and plus speed, of course. Speed will be very important factor. How long the crowdfunding lasts? Good question. Well, I know that UNESCO now in contact with one government, and they are interested to fund the Eco Technopark completely. However, unless we hear information from him that contract's been signed, everything is agreed, and they receive the first money, I don't think he'll stop the crowdfunding. So at the moment, we still do this webinars, and we talk about this opportunity to the private investors, because it's still up and running. But how long it would be, I don't know. And we now reach the point where we actually have lots of interest from institutional investments, which means that technically, as soon as we had one institutional investor or institutional fund invest in our technology, that will be it. We will not longer be interested to do crowdfunding at all. And plus, this country, if they reach the agreement tomorrow, then Unitsky will let us know. He'll give us some deadline, and crowdfunding will finish by that time. What may prevent SkyWay going to the public? Well, if for some reason no one would want to use our roads, which are very unlikely, because I don't see the reason why would people decided not to use Skyway, taking consideration all the benefits we can give to people, individuals, and the government. But if we're not going to build 100,000 kilometers, then we're not going to public. Like, we're not going to go to IPO. If you take every single contract we signed so far, we have a contracts and letters of agreements. If you put them together, we already have 100,000 kilometers there. So if everything will go smoothly, then should not be a reason why we're not going to IPO within the next 3 to 5 years. But again, it is not like 100% guaranteed. It is still investment. So I want you to remember that. Thank you very much. So it will be at least 3 years before our shares can be sold. The company, what they're trying to do now is they want to create opportunity for investors who want to sell their shares before IPO to do so. But I don't know when it will be and how would that be packaged. What I heard is that company would have opportunity to buy the shares off from private investors if they wish to sell. But the question would be how much the share cost, because $1 per share, this mark will be when the company goes to IPO. So if company not going to public, then the share price will be lower. So then the question, how much? And then I don't know. So it is still in discussion. I think the first time I heard about this was 3 months ago, and the deadline was given up to a year. So hopefully next year we will have this tool, because some people, they would probably want to get rid of the shares, which I don't recommend, because the longer you hold them, the value will go up and up the more roads we build. But of course, I know some people, they have ridiculous amount of shares in the package, especially those people who bought the packages at the initial stage, like stage one, number 1 or 2. So they have probably a few millions in their portfolio. So maybe they would not mind to give a little bit away so they can receive the money now. But this again will be in discussion a bit later. Yes, I will send. We have a little bet with John from Norway. They're doing very great. They have a great team in Norway, and compared to all European countries, they do really well. So we have a little competition who can do better this month, Norway or UK. So you guys, you're more than welcome to contribute to London. But if you're not in London, then make sure that your country is up to the speed as well, because we want to see more European countries. Because every time we talk about investment, it's the Russia, it's Kazakhstan, Ukraine. These are 3 countries always in the top. And come on, we have here so many people, and investment in Europe is something like most of the people do. Maybe not most of them, but at least we have a good 40% of the people who aware what is investment. When in Russia, it's only like 20% of the people, but they still do better than us. So let's promote this while we still have opportunity for crowdfunding. How about earthquake? We have what is called the documents called 100 questions and answers from Unitsky, and he talks about earthquake there. So on the places, like for example in China or in Asia, where we know there's a possibility of earthquakes, our support legs, they will be much more deeper, and like we know where the what is, how you call it, when earthquake happens, it's in certain areas, right? So they can have a look at the inside out, what will be the landscape for specific country or specific project, and they will make sure that they put the anchor support far away from this place where earthquake can happen. So that's why for each country we'll do the project separately, taking consideration all the past history, taking consideration all possibilities, and each project will be done for accordingly to the specifications to specific country. So that's why we're not going to build a skyway the places where the earthquake happens. We will move it somewhere where it's much more safer, and we put support anchors much more deeper. So then it will be as safe as anywhere else. So post about Philippines. Yeah, I think there are some negotiation happening with the Philippines, but I'm not sure at what stage. Like, what is the outcome at the moment? Okay. Regarding passing the shares to family members, maybe in the future it will be possible to create an easier system and bypass and legislative bureaucracy. I know what the company forever have the system that you can easily pass your business to your family. Probably, Maddie, that could be a case. I mean, at the moment, we don't know when it will happen, how. So, like, I don't know what the structure will be. Maybe it will be as straightforward as me going online and just click button saying, oh, I want to sell that's much of my shares. Maybe it will be more complicated process. Maybe we need to get their lawyer involved every time when we do buy and sell deals. So at the moment I don't know, but what I know that company would always look any solution from investors' point of view. Because don't forget, Havratov, he's CEO of SkyWay Invest Group, and I don't know if you know, but we have two biggest investors in Skyway. It's Havratov and Unitsky wife, Nadezhda. They two biggest investors at the moment. I'm not taking into consideration any other private investors. I'm talking about the people who support in Skyway. So whatever decision Havratov will make, he will make sure that he's as investor he can benefit. So he would not try to make the system complex, because it means that if he won't use the service, it will be complex for him. And he, as the businessman, as the business owner and the private investor, he would always look for easy way, for simple way. So that's why no matter what decision the company will take in the future, the investors will be always put in, like they will be always a priority. So that's also quite important to understand, because all our main directors and people who are in a managing board, they all of them investors. So they would never make any decisions against the investors, because they are invested themselves a lot of money, even more than probably any of us, especially Andrei Havratov. He owns a very big portfolio. Just an idea for future. Mention how the people in the webinar. Okay, cool. Very welcome any suggestions about the webinars. Let me know if something we can change or improve. We'll be really happy to hear your feedbacks as well. What happened? Okay, that's, I think I already answered about the earthquake. How much do we need to raise? In order to finance Eco Technopark completely, we're looking to raise 200 million. So far, we have 11.5 or 12 million raised, but now we have big players involved. So if whatever we achieve so far, we done by by crowdfunding. But as soon as we have big guys involved, then this is actually the reason why we're not going to do crowdfunding anymore, because we can reach as much as we can with the public money. But then the real game and the bigger guys will join on a later stage when we have a transport system ready. And then we would not longer require the crowdfunding. And to be honest, InnoTrans was and it is the key event, because it's been now a week after InnoTrans. And we have so many people contacted us and asking about opportunities. So many officials. I had a call today with Italian officials and Petro. So we have more and more people who are now keen. So that is why we need to raise still lots of money. But there are many other ways which we can use, not just crowdfunding at this stage. What happened after the IPO? Well, after IPO, it means the company goes to public, which means we will have the shares which you can buy and sell publicly. And the more roads we have built, the more users we have, then the share price will go up. Similar with the Facebook, when they went to IPO, I think it was $25 per share. Now it's around $100. Why? Because the community grows. So more people using Facebook, plus Facebook merging with the different companies. So they added value to the Facebook services. They added value to the platform itself. And because of that, the share price go up. Same with the Skyway. The more services we will add, like we can use the stations for the car parking or for student accommodation, what they're planning to do in Australia. So all of these aspects, they will influence the share price. So the more this added value offers will get or services, the more the share price will go up and up and up. So after we go to IPO, it's happy days for all our investors. And then you can decide whatever you want to do with your shares, either receive the dividends lifelong, or you can sell them, or you can buy extra. This will be your decision. Yes, yes, Johnny, absolutely right. We need to prepare for the next step. Where can I review the page? Show me a different example. Share purchases. This page can be viewed online, Luis. Again, if you go back to the, sorry. If you go back to the person who introduced you to this webinar, then he or she will explain you where you can have a look and get access to this information. Okay, does our network marketing team stay until the project complete, or it's finished when the funding done? Ali, very good question. So we are like network marketing team. We stay until the project complete, and we'll stay even after that. Because after the Ecotechnopark completed, it's not like the job is done. We still would have other opportunities where we can do the crowdfunding for local projects separately. So we can do the crowdfunding for, let's say, Australia. We can do a bit of crowdfunding for India or China, for any other countries who would want to have a crowdfunding for their local projects. This is something we can offer as well. Of course, we're not going to fund the entire project. The way how we're going to present this to the government is that we have a large group of investors who are interested in different investment opportunities, and we are happy to finance documentation work plus up to 1 kilometer of road, in the condition that the government will be ready to pay the rest. So this will be the strategy we use for future. So people who missed out invest in the main company, they would still have opportunity to invest in local projects. Of course, the price would be different, the return will be different. The best opportunity is still invest in the main company. But the marketing, network marketing team, we will continue work with the different local projects as well. Okay, some math questions. Okay. Yes, I will share the webinar. What I mean, the business side, the crowdfunding is done, the network side. Yeah, I think I answered your question, Shirley, that after crowdfunding is done for Ecotechnopark, then we can do the crowdfunding for local projects. So the crowdfunding initiative will not disappear as soon as the funding done in Ecotechnopark. It will continue, but it will be for separate projects, will be different opportunity and different price and different returns. Okay, cool. Well, if you don't have any other questions, we can finish for today. I'm sorry I took a bit of your time. It should be for 1 hour. But I'm glad that I shared this video with you, because at the beginning I really like it. I hope you enjoy it as well. Well, thank you very much, guys, for your time. I'm looking forward to see you next week. We usually do webinars on Thursday. So if you have any preferences, actually let me know what time is best for you, what day is best for you, and then we can see, maybe we can change the time and date, or maybe we should stick to the same arrangement. So thank you very much for your time. I wish you a good evening and a good night, and it was a pleasure to have you today. Thank you. Bye bye, guys.